Hey everybody, Andrew King here, Editor-in-Chief of Canadian Musician Magazine, ECMA 2018. I guess our final CMLive bid from the weekend. Thrilled to have Sorrey. This is Emilee Sorrey Colin Buchanan from Sorrey, also plays in Paper Lions, a few other projects, and producer-engineer as well, who's I guess are you behind the console for the next batch of songs?
I am indeed. We're kind of been chipping away at the next record for like the last year and a half. Seems crazy, but true. So yeah.
Pulling double duty. Well, so here, let's start there. Like, the first time I ever saw you perform solo, I remember Thick as Thieves very vividly. And it was you, acoustic, very delicate, I think we could call it. But on the EP, Thick as Thieves, joined by Colin and some other PEI musicians. The EP, we encourage you to check it out. It got a lot of attention around Polaris, and hearing some traction. But my question is, like going from that acoustic kind of stripped down singer-songwriter style to the more full band dream pop vibe that is on the EP, how much of that was a result of like Colin and the other musicians you brought into the fold, or was that kind of how you envisioned these songs maybe transforming, or a hybrid of it?
Well, a fair amount of those songs, like while I performed them acoustically and solo, I had kind of been demoing them myself, just using software and kind of laying out the different tracks and what I had in mind for like backing pads and leads, and so it was a bit more of a fuller picture, I think. By the time I had, and that was why I went to Colin in the first place, was like, here's my ideas, here they are on a computer, how do we turn this into something else? And then it really went from there. So there was kind of another step, I think, in behind the scenes that maybe wasn't, I guess, visible to the audience.
A lot of those demos were really great, like the first demos that Em did, just like on GarageBand, and I was just like, let's just like bounce some of these files down and like bring them into Pro Tools. So there's quite a few songs that they originally come from the demo, like the waveforms in the original files, and we just kind of did proper vocals with proper mics and stuff, but like a lot of the loops and sort of keyboard parts were just what Em had done on her own on GarageBand, which is super cool because anytime I work with other artists, they like think they have to like redo all that stuff. It's just like, no, it's got to be professional. It's like, GarageBand is professional. It's a great program, and there's nothing wrong with the sounds. So.
Yeah, Grimes Visions, by the way.
Yes,
entirely in GarageBand, and what we use for CM Radio. Quick plug. So yeah, again, the EP Thick as Thieves, I guess, kind of established you on the regional, national level. Got a new batch of tunes though. Yeah, how long ago actually was it that the EP dropped?
2015. It's 2015. I know it feels like it, but just the way the album cycles go, it kind of was, I guess, out there in like 2016 at the ECMAs and Music PEI, like that was when it was really brought to light. But it technically was out in 2015.
Right. So I guess in that time, been collaborating with Colin. I think whether it's in a live iteration of the group or maybe in the studio, like there's been a kind of revolving cast of characters lending their touch to this. All this to ask, like, since we haven't heard it yet, where do you guys see the most significant progression between Thick as Thieves onto this new batch of tunes?
It kind of still remains to be seen, to be honest. The record is still, I would say, only about half done, and maybe 4 of the 5 or 6 tunes were kind of from an initial writing session, which was like maybe a year and a half ago, that we were kind of workshopping for a while. And so those songs kind of exist in their own sort of bubble of the time and place that they were written. And now we're starting to explore kind of what will be the rest of the record. And we have a couple new songs that are kind of quite different from those other songs that'll fill out the record. So I think it'll be kind of an amalgam, maybe like less sort of succinct like Thick as Thieves was, because all those songs were written kind of closer together.
Right.
So it'll be an interesting blend, and I think that'll be a great aspect of the record, is the fact that it doesn't sound so similar song to song.
And I think another big difference would be like that first album, like you said, so much of it was done kind of prior to the band, I guess, being formed and brought in. So for anyone who's really seen the live show, I think that this next album will probably be a bit more representative or reflective of what the live show is like.
Okay. When I think of, and I'm sure you've heard that adage of like, you've got a lifetime to write your first album, and then however long the span is between that and the next one. Hence the oft-cited sophomore slump. Not to jinx anything. But what I'm curious about though is like I think of songs like Thick as Thieves or Washington that are like deeply personal tunes where again like you can be grabbing material for these from kind of a lifetime's worth of stuff. Lyrically speaking, for the new tunes, were you still able to kind of reach back, or is a lot of this dealing with things that you've experienced or stories that you want to tell that are like fresher from when Thick as Thieves actually dropped?
I would say at the point when they're written, they're fresh. So when they're recorded and end up on an album, it's like maybe a bit of a different story.
Right.
But I tend to kind of capture something as it happens, and then yeah, the lifetime of that can be anything really afterwards, and when we bring the other members of the band in. But I think it's pretty much like a capsule sort of situation for each song.
Right. Okay. So kind of I've alluded to already that Thick as Thieves got a lot of attention industry-wise. There's some influencers that have cited like putting it on top 10 or top 5 lists. I remember some discussion around it for Polaris 2016, I guess it would have been. All this to ask, like, with this new one, do you have your eyes on like certain goals or maybe a tier of new markets you want to break into? Like, what's the plan for when this sees the light of day?
Yeah, totally. So we're actually working with our friends, just started a record label based out of Halifax and Toronto called Garment District Records, and working with them and kind of setting our sights on a bit broader of a market. Like, we're pretty saturated here, and we love the East Coast, and this is just our little circuit that we kind of do.
Right.
But obviously we'd love to move closer to Toronto and down from there. So I think accessing those new markets, also like radio potential, I think we'd love to just, I guess, have a bit more presence there as well, and so kind of writing a little bit with that in mind, I guess, too. But it'll just be interesting to see where it goes. I think we do have quite a bit of support, like you said, and it feels that way. It feels very supportive, and it feels like people are waiting kind of with open arms for this next batch of songs. And so I'm just like, first and foremost, most excited to give those people the songs, the people who have been like waiting really patiently for it, and then focus on newer markets.
Nice. Yeah, I think that we were laughing about 2015 and maybe how long it's been since then, but I think it's helped kind of keep people hungry for this. Do we have a working title for the record yet that you can disclose?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
All of we still are working on like our song titles are still working titles right now. But it's one of those things where the more you write your set list show after show, and you're like, we're playing that song next, or it gets ingrained, and then before you know it, that's the name of the song, and it's like more often than not kind of a shitty name. So we're actually like right now thinking of renaming a couple songs before they actually get out into the public ether.
Okay, well that's coming soon. Emilee Sorrey Colin Buchanan, Sorrey Sorrey is the band, and can't wait for this to see the light of day.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, ECMA 2018, Mike Carver, big thanks for holding.